Boom, hey team, it's Coach D coming at you. It is our 5th and final day of Level Up Week, and we are talking all about foam rolling all week long. So today we are going to do some lacrosse ball work, so that's why the title is Lacrosse Ball Love. So I'll talk about that in a second, but before I get there, I've had some questions about what type of roller you should use. I don't recommend this torture device. To me, this is way too hard, it's too intense, and it actually could do more damage than good. So remember, the goal of foam rolling is not to elicit as much possible pain, it's to allow the tissue to let go. And when you're rolling, if you have a lot of pain, you know what your tissue does? It tightens up even more. Our goal is to alleviate, release, and let the tissue relax. And something naughty like this, naughty in all ways, in all senses of the word, I don't recommend. The other foam roller you've seen me use, I thought it was right here. Has some ridges on it. I've recommended it. It's called the Grid. That's the best one. It has ridges up and down. It has some small spots, things like that will help change the amount of pressure that you're feeling when you roll. This roller is fine. This is a traditional flat, high density foam roller. You can find these anywhere. The reason why I don't recommend these, and now if you have one, use it. It's not bad, use it. Whatever you have, use. But the reason why I prefer something that has ridges in it is because when you sit on this or press a muscle on this, it basically just flattens out the tissue and smashes it to the point where it pushes out fluid, it pushes out blood. It doesn't even let oxygen flow through the tissue because it's mashing it. When you have ridges, the tissue and the fluid can kind of move in between those ridges, which is best, okay? And then last but not least, what is the best roller and manipulation device for you? It's the one that you will use. The one that you will use consistently, the one you already have at home, the one that you're willing to try, that's the best one for you, okay? So let's talk about this. Hey, Ezel and Susan. We're gonna talk about this lacrosse ball. So as you know, lacrosse balls are very hard. They're super dense. So if you have an injury, like a torn muscle or a severe trauma to a specific part of your body, this is way too hard. Please don't use this. This will cause more damage, okay? But you wanna use this when the area that you're trying to release is smaller than the palm of your hand. This is your guideline. So if it's smaller than the palm of your hand, lacrosse ball is your friend. A good example would be your piriformis, which is what I'm gonna show you to do right now. So your piriformis is a tiny, let me move this down, is a tiny triangle shaped muscle that's on the side of your butt. And it gets extremely inflamed, especially for people who do lots of squats and lunges, AKA fierce women. So you place the lacrosse ball, it's where that dent is on the muscle. So if you go out and you feel that dent, that's where you place the ball. So that's smaller than the palm of your hand. That means I need to use a lacrosse ball. And it's pretty intense, but you want to sit on it and roll just like we have been, and you find that hot spot and then you sit on it. Breathe through it. And then watch what I do with my leg. So you can kind of see, I'm gonna go forward and back. Yikes. So these are the cross frictions that we've done on the other techniques that we've used. And then I want you to bend your knees so your feet are together, and you're gonna open and close. Oh, woo. Open and close your knees. Open and close. And as you open, you're getting that piriformis to touch the lacrosse ball to get that tissue to let go. So I recommend doing that on one hot spot and then rolling it around, finding another hot spot that's usually close to your sacrum, your sits bones. Oh, feels really good. Sit on it, breathe. Cross, cross, and then we're gonna open and close. Open and close. The lacrosse ball is also good to use when you have one side that you want to hit more than the other. So the foam roller, it just covers a wider area. It's good to hop on one side, then the other, upper body, lower body, back and forth. If you have a very localized area you're trying to release, the lacrosse ball is good. Okay, so that's one way you can use the lacrosse ball. The other way is your hamstring, which is the muscle in the back of your thigh. Let's see if I can get this to focus. There we go. And what you do is you basically take a seat first. Take the lacrosse ball and place it underneath wherever that spot is. So the hamstring is the muscle that runs the back of your thigh. This is also great for all the deadlifters out there. And you're basically finding that hot spot, but you need the pressure of the chair to push against the ball to go into your tissue so you can feel that release. And I'm just moving the ball down with my hand so I can find a hot spot. And for me, I know where mine is. It's like 2/3 of the way down to the outside, right? There. 2 to 3 deep breaths. And the goal, remember, of the deep breaths is to have that initial shock and torture feel to turn into a push, a release of the tissue. Oh. And then you're gonna cross friction, so left, right, left, right, left, right. And then you're gonna bend and straighten. Oh, maybe bend and straighten. Now the hamstring does cover a large area of the back of the leg. So the hamstring muscle is bigger than your hand, I understand that. But the spot that I feel tight is smaller than my hand. Does that make sense? So the muscle is bigger, but the spot is smaller. And then you can find other hot spots. So if you are a cyclist, your hot spots are gonna be more towards your groin on the inside of your thighs because you're going in. So Peloton, on my Peloton users, you're gonna feel more hot spots on the inside. On my runners, you're gonna feel more hot spots on the outside. And most of my weightlifters, you're gonna feel it in the middle. So play around with it and just see where yours is. But those are the typical hot spots depending on activity. And then the last place to use the lacrosse ball, and perhaps a tennis ball is better depending on how much tightness you have, is your upper back, okay? So remember, we don't want to cross the neck. So you want to stay below the big vertebra that you feel in your neck and above where your lower back arches. But I'm gonna take this baby, I actually slept on my neck funky last night. So I'm gonna take this ball and place it right in between my shoulder blade and my spine, but on the ground. So I roll down on the floor. I'm gonna support my head with my other hand. Oh, and it's the same thing. It always starts off the same way. Explore to find your hot spot. This one's actually, it's pretty high today because of my neck. Oh, there it is. Sit on, number 2, sit on the hot spot and breathe. If I can get it to stay. Oh, there we go. Number 3, cross frictions. And again, depending on where you are, it might be up and down cross frictions, it might be side to side. Play with it and see what your body will let you do. And then you can, on this particular one, you can roll side to side. If it's on your lower body, you can bend and straighten your knee. Oh, that feels good. I'm gonna turn my head side to side. I've also done this particular move on the wall. And what works really well, maybe I'll show you in a video after this, is taking this and placing it in a tube sock, because the tube sock keeps the ball in position. So imagine a long tube sock, you drop that puppy in there, it goes down to the bottom of the tube sock, you can tie a knot so it stays in place, and then you'll hold the end of the tube sock to manipulate the ball either on the floor or against the wall. All right? So use that baby for smaller areas, even if you have like a pec release, if your chest is tight, if after a lot of push-ups maybe, if you're a tennis or a golf player, you can use it on your forearm. That feels so good. Oh, that feels really good. And then like I said, I slept funky. I mean, you can see that speed bump. See that? Boom, boom. I slept really funky on my neck last night. So I have a speed bump right there, and this feels really good. There's no way I could get a foam roller in there because the area is so small. So play around with it. If the lacrosse ball is too hard, use a tennis ball. No big deal. All right? So remember the steps, and I'll make sure that you have all of the videos from this whole week. I'll put a little playlist together on YouTube and post the link so that you can play it anytime you want. Number one, explore. Find the hot spot. Number two, once you find it, sit on it and breathe so it goes whoosh instead of like this. Number three, cross friction. So you go across it, okay? You can go up and down, either one of those, both of those, try them both, see what feels better. And then number four, manipulate the limb, whether you're bending and straightening the elbow, bending and straightening the knee, swiping the arm back and forth, maybe moving it up and down. Same thing with the leg, but you want to manipulate the limb to get into the muscle a little bit more. All right, the safety points, just basically don't roll over joints, don't roll over your neck, don't roll over your lower back, knees, elbows, those types of things. And then you're good to go. When in doubt, reach out to me and I will help you. I hope this was helpful. Type boom below if you do this particular foam rolling with a ball. If you have a tennis ball or a golf ball, that'll work too. And let me know what you thought. Let me know if there's areas that I missed that you want to know how to roll, and I will make a video for you, or at least send you a resource that you can use for that particular body part. All right, have a wonderful weekend. Boom, love you guys. Stay fierce this Friday. Remember that we are fierce 7 days a week. We find balance, we indulge, we relax, but we stay true to our goals. All right, so just because it's Friday doesn't mean we give up. It means we stay strong and we find balance. Mwah. Love you guys. Have a great day, great weekend, and I'll see you soon.